Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to another episode of Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney. In the last episode, we finished out the first investigation of Turnabout Corner. We found out that the murder victim is Pal Maractus of the Maractus Clinic. We found out that when he died, he was pulling the noodle stand, which is a very interesting position to die in. And we found out that our suspect is Waki Kitaki, the heir to the throne of the Kitaki family, which is a group of gangsters. So this is already starting to get a little bit questionable, but, you know, hopefully we'll be fine and we'll be able to get Waki acquitted. I'm very nervous going into the trial because of Clavier's voice. I don't know how to do a German accent very well, and I'm really hoping that I don't, offend anybody with my bad German accent. I don't even think that he has a German accent, but I always imagined him with a German accent, so that's what I'm gonna do. But, you know, if it doesn't work out, then I might switch into an American one later on, but yeah, for now we're gonna try the German accent, and we're gonna go into the trial. Let's go. June 16th, 9:46 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 2. Huh. Mr. Wright's not here today? He said his old foot injury was acting up. Old injury? He was all smiles yesterday. Yes, he smiled when he said we'd be fine as long as you're there, Trucy. Yes, fine. We'll be fine. Here comes justice. I started my voice training at 5 this morning. Ooh! Do some now! I want to see. Here? Huh? Oh, okay. My name is Apollo Justice and I'm fine! That sounds more like a self-mantra than voice training. Good morning. Yo, sup? Hit me with the guilty verdict, G. See if I care. You just hang loose and let things go with the flow, know what I'm saying? Not really. Waki, don't be running your mouth like that in here. See, that's the difference between me and you, old man. I ain't afraid of no cops. Real G's can't keep it real till they spell some hard time in the pen. You have no idea what you're talking about. Sounds like they've both been voice training too, Apollo. My worst fears realized. The trial's starting and I still haven't had a real talk with my client. June 16th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 4. Oh boy, here we go. Court is now in session for the trial of Waki Kitaki. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready to rock and roll, Herr Judge. Ah, it's him! The guy from yesterday! He's a prosecutor? It's Mr. Gavin's brother. Long time no see, Prosecutor Gavin. Were you taking a leave of absence? You know that little band I started in my free time? Thing is, we got real popular. Hard to say nine to your fans when three of your singles go platinum, yeah? I see. To be honest, I was a little concerned. I fear that you might still be distraught over that one trial. Not to worry, Herr Judge. I would have missed this day in courts for the world. It's worth even more than VIP passes to one of my concerts, yeah? How could I pass up a chance to see the true strengths of the little boy who bested my brother? It was worth canceling a show or two. Understood. You may give your opening statements to the court. Before that, I was thinking, is the air in this courtroom not a bit serious? It is a court of law. That's no way to get the crowd jumping, Herr Judge. They're not supposed to jump. This is a courtroom. Achtung, baby! Today we play it my way. What's that noise? Sometimes you have to get on up in order to get down. To prosecuting. This is crazy. The victim, Pal Maractus, director of the Maractus Clinic. The scene, People Park. He was found pulling a noodle stand. What in the world was a doctor doing pulling a noodle stand? Yes, I believe you will only find that out by asking the defendant, right here, right now. Because it's an undeniable truth that he shot the victim. What do you mean, undeniable? If you are to glare at anyone, Herr Justice, glare at the punk in the defendant's chair. His crime was witnessed quite clearly, you see. Very well. Please admit this witness to the court. Sir? Nein, not yet. First, there is a little matter to be cleaned up. Could you talk without the accompaniment? I swear I could see the guitar for a second. What is it, Prosecutor Gavin? The motive, Herr Judge. Herr Judge, fuck me. Why did the little pug do it? Why did he kill the director of the Maractus Clinic? Not so fast. The defendant doesn't have to explain that. Oh, but what does the defendant specifically request to do so, as he did this morning? I want to give a shout out to all my homies, I believe he said. What? What is right?
They always say that on stage you should hit the crowd with speed and ferocity. Sounds like he got you good, huh, Polly?
Well, this is highly unusual, but the court will now hear from the defendant concerning his motive in the crime. So, you, son, are the defendant. Walkie, are you? I ain't your son, old man. You step to a Kentucky, you best be prepared to step strong. You step to a public official, you'd best be prepared to step into jail.
You gotta hand it to him. Walkie sure has guts.
It's not his guts I'm worried about. Well then, the court will now hear testimony on the defendant's motive. From the defendant himself. What the fuck are you doing, Walkie? I'll tell you one thing, that doctor was a quacker. Someone had to show him what's what. I was in his clinic about half a year ago. He missed my op something bad. And then he just lets me go without a word. See you later, bye. So I gotta go in, get another doctor, patch me up again. That was the day I done figured it out. No OT's gonna let that pass. That's why I went to his pad that night, you know what I'm saying? You're saying you were one of the victim's patients. A lot of stuff goes down when you're keeping it real on the street, true that. I tell you one thing, that doctor was whack. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. I can't believe this is the first time I'm hearing about all this. It's like, yeah, man, we don't know anything about this case, dude. I'll tell you one thing, the doctor was a quacker. Someone had shown us what. I was in his clinic about half a year ago. What does that mean? So you were a patient at the Maractus Clinic half a year ago? For what reason? What you might call a mark of honor. Can you explain precisely what was wrong? We had a little run-in with the rival's family. That's when I pulled a jack move. And ran into an ambush. Gee, busted a cap right in me. According to my sources, you couldn't stand the stress of waiting. And ran in 15 minutes before the appointed time. By yourself. Hey, I was more than a match for those guys. So you were carried to the Maractus Clinic from there. Apparently, he was shot in the heart. Shot in the heart and he's still alive?
I can catch bullets between my teeth, but I never learned how to catch them with my heart.
The bullet stopped just short of a thumper, you know what I'm saying? I would have been golden if it weren't for that whack doc. Can't even take out a stupid bullet. So, as you say, the surgery was a failure. That ain't all of it, Holmes. What do you mean he just let you go without a word? What do you think it means? It's whack, that's what. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds bad. It sounds as though Herr Doctor wished to hide his mistake. This is why he let the defendant go. He's a liar, straight up. He's a badder G than me. So, this bullet is still... You know it, I can still feel it. Right there in my chest, pressing up against my heart. Your words are like the bullet shot straight into my heart. Or something to that effect. Incidentally, that's from one of our hit singles. Well, that sounds like a straightforward case of malpractice. Word, J-Man. We're no accident, that's for shizzle. What am I saying, dude? Man, putting him down was like doing the world a favor. Wagi, please consult your lawyer before saying things like that.
Shut up, Apollo. Back straight.
But why did this mistake only come to light that day? It was found during the family health checkup. The family health checkup? That was the wackest thing of all. All SGs lining up, taking eye exams and all that. Better to die young than fade away, bazoy. A relief to hear. Eh? What's a relief? Oh? Did your father not tell you? That bullet you carry so close to your heart, if not attended to immediately, it could kill you. What? Yes, Herr Dr. Maractus had knowledge concerning this ticking time bomb in you. Knowledge that could have saved your life. No way! That's whacked! There is proof. Your checkup report. How ironic that you would kill the one man capable of helping you. Let's check on the checkup report. Okay, patient's name Wakikitaki, June 14th, metallic object found near heart, urgent exam needed. You're almost as careless as he was. Well, now that the place is hopping, let's get this gig started. Started? We've had enough of a warm-up act, yeah? Time to hear from the witness.
Waki sure is quiet all of a sudden.
I'm a little uneasy myself. Is this Gavin's strategy? Hello, sir. So, you will tell us your name and occupation. Dude, what the... Can you... My name is Wesley Stickler. By occupation, I take it you refer to some kind of profits of society at large and provide a livelihood, which your definition must confess to being unemployed. However, we must acknowledge the meaning above under identity, which is commonly attached to this notion of occupation. And once we have accepted this reality, we see that our confusion is not gestalt per se, but derives instead from the vagueness inherent in all representations of thought. By which he means to say that he is a student. A junior at Ivy University, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, in the Department of Science and Engineering. Filled with curiosity for all things, I spend my days in the pursuit of truth, honing my... Herr Stickler, please direct said curiosity to the case at hand today. Very well, Mr. Stickler. Please testify to the court about what you saw on the night of the crime. You ask, quite simplistically, what I saw. However, we must understand that Homo sapiens possess two eyes, these designed to receive and interpret data, sending images from the form of signals to... I hate this man already. That night, I passed through the park on my way home from shopping, when I saw them. One man pulling a stand, another man facing him. I saw them quite clearly. The man facing the victim was the defendant. In his hand he held, yes, a pistol. It was pointed at the man pulling the stand. A shot. The bullet hit the man pulling the stand from the front, square in the forehead. Was there anyone else in the park at the time? I could say with 100% accuracy that there was not. The pistol our witness refers to is this. The court accepts this into evidence. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may cross-examine that witness. Yes, Your Honor. Jersey, why are you staring at the witness?
That man. I can't help but feel I've seen him somewhere before.
Hold on. Let me check something real quick. Oh, I know it. Shot. The bullet hit the man pulling the stand from the front, square in the forehead. Wrong. You are wrong, sir. Phew. That's all of it. I think I have a chance. Is that you relaxing, I see, Herr Justice? Huh? Oh, Objection! Once is quite enough, Mr. Justice.
Apollo, pace yourself. This trial's not over yet.
Right. Look at this. The autopsy report? Is there a problem with the autopsy report? Right. Problem. Yes! The problem is the location of the entry wound. Location? You testified that the killer shot the victim square in the forehead, did you not? Ah, I have already determined your angle of inquiry. Allow me to explain. It is quite simple, really. First, understand that when I say square, I speak not of geometrical absolute. What do I mean by this? For example, the detection of a meter is that. The wavelength of the light is... In addition, it is a well-known fact why krypton particles are rare and invisible to the naked eye, which points to a basic fallacy in your line of reasoning, namely, that what... Mr. Justice. Yes? Was your objection to these, krypton particle things? This is the big time, and you are obsessed with something so small? You disappoint me. No. I'm obsessed with something big. There's a bigger, less nitpicky problem here. Do tell. Just look at the autopsy report. The location of the entry wound was the right temple. Temple? Mr. Stickler, you said quite clearly that the victim was shot square in the forehead. That's a contradiction. Isn't it? That's so cute, the horns. It is, right? Finally. Herr Justice. Oh, Herr Justice. Yes? Your tactics are outdated. Trying to shake the witness by objecting to trifles? Surely you haven't forgotten the fatal wound your master suffered 7 years ago? Phoenix Wright, was it? Look, I know the wound was in the wrong place according to this testimony. Hey, her forehead. Forehead? Let us imagine you are walking through the park. You see two men facing each other, one with a pistol trained on the other. What would you do, Herr Forehead? Well, I guess I would try to stop them. I'd probably shout, "Stop!" And you, Fräulein?
Me? Well, I'd probably scream, "Eee!"
And you, Herr Stickler? What did you shout, I wonder? If the victim turned his head at the last moment... Ah, yes. Thank you for jogging my memory. It sounds like an addendum to the testimony is required. As soon as the killer raised his pistol, I took action. "Cease this at once, you two!" I cried with composure. The victim turned in the direction of my voice, and a shot rang out. Whereupon our cowardly killer, the defendant, appeared to have become frightened. Tossing the pistol aside, he fled from the scene. I see. So you attempted to stop the crime? Indeed, with composure.
Well, maybe the criminal wouldn't have fired if he hadn't shouted like that.
That doesn't really matter now, unfortunately. Let us consider this new testimony, shall we? Observe the diagram, if you would. Okay. The witness, Mr. Stickler, was it? Stood here. He shouted, "Oh, stop, please," or something of this nature. And the victim responded by looking in the witness's direction. If the killer were to have fired just at that moment, as we can see, the bullet would have struck the right temple, as in this report. That does seem to be the case. Witness the power of a junior in Ivy University's Department of Science. Very well, Mr. Justice, you may cross-examine the witness. As soon as the killer raised his pistol, I took action. "Cease this at once, you two," I cried with composure. The victim turned in the direction of my voice, and a shot rang out. I'm just gonna try to press, because I don't really know. Did you hear the gunshot at the same time as the victim turned? Indeed, I would say about the same time, to be precise. And the victim didn't ask you for help? It can be said that he didn't have time to ask. He didn't even have time to take a single step.
I'm totally sure that the killer fired because Mr. Stickler startled him.
Don't say that too loud, Druzy, please. Can you describe the killer's actions more clearly? He seemed quite surprised, especially considering that it was he who did the deed. As we can see, human psychology is a tangled web indeed. He simply couldn't believe what he had done. He shot, he panicked. A common tale, but true. Unfortunately, before I could take further action. You didn't try to apprehend the criminal? It all happened so fast, I'm afraid I hadn't the time.
Doesn't something about that strike you as odd, Apollo?
What?
The killer was in a hurry, right? He fired the pistol and tossed it right away.
According to the testimony, that's what happened, yes?
In that case, I'd expect to find something that we didn't find.
Find something? Find what?
I like the contradiction. Kinda sad to see it go.
Not as sad as I feel. What do we do now?
At least the testimony is getting a little clearer.
She's right. Maybe I can find something to use in this new testimony. Okay, so she said that there was a contradiction right here. I just suppose that we would have expected to find the pistol. Yeah, okay. Wait a second. Another misleading request. Yet you're so beholden to your own mode of discourse that you can't see how it affects you. Come again? Wait a second, you say? A second? Are we intended to wait just that? A single second? 1/60th of a minute? That's hardly enough time to draw a breath, let alone make a statement in court. Now, had you asked for a longer period of time, say 3 minutes 35 seconds, Mr. Justice! Yes, Your Honor? Am I to understand that you are objecting to the length of a second? Yes, I mean, no, here, just look at this pistol. It doesn't have a single fingerprint on it. Ah, a common ploy, made all the more common, I fear, by the prevalence of television. Criminals these days are loath to leave fingerprints. Wait, but you said that the killer tossed the gun and ran.
That's right! He didn't have time to wipe the gun for prints.
Ah, the little girl sticking it to the university student. There's a song in there.
I'm not little!
So let's think like adults, shall we, Fraulein?
Huh?
What if the killer, the defendant, was wearing gloves?
Gotta admit, I didn't think of that, Apollo.
Well, Mr. Justice, could the killer have been wearing gloves? Hold on. No. The record of the murder weapon is very clear about one thing. The fingerprints were wiped, which means some trace of prints remained, which contradicts your testimony. If everything happened as you say it did, he wouldn't have had time to wipe the pistol. That may be, but it does not change what I saw. The killer, the defendant. He threw down the murderous weapon from his hand and fled. And this pistol was found at the scene of the crime, strongly suggesting that this was the weapon he disposed of. Does that sound solid to me? Well, Herr Forehead, any of your precious objections?
What gives, Apollo? Let's see that voice training go to work.
You know, I've only recently realized something. No matter how hard you train your voice, it doesn't matter if you have nothing to say.
What do you mean, nothing to say? Isn't it obvious from what the witness just said?
Huh? Isn't what obvious?
When he restated just now that he saw Walkie drop a murderous weapon, but that's not the same as being 100% sure of what Walkie threw away.
You're right.
He's just confessed because a pistol was found at the scene.
Oh, he's just confused.
Poor Mr. Stickler. It must be so hard to be so perfect, and yet so wrong.
Well, it can be said that I'm quite offended. Well, it is indeed true that oh God. And for this what we can say for certain is that the witness saw the killer throw something. Does the defense have anything to say about this?
Well, if what he threw wasn't a pistol,
then it had to be something else. At least one person on the defense team seems to be thinking. Ugh, I'll wipe that smile off your pretty face, Gavin. Perhaps you can inform the court as to the nature of this something else. What did the killer throw away before fleeing the scene? This. Is that a sword? I saw one of those on the late-night movie last night. Great, a sleep-deprived judge. This knife was found at the scene of the crime, with the defendant's prints on it. His prints! This single piece of evidence proves two important things. One, that what the defendant threw down wasn't a pistol. Two, that the defendant wasn't wearing gloves. Indeed. Oh, Herr Forehead, you're forgetting two other things you've just proven. Huh? One, that the man who saw the man who the witness saw was the defendant, Mr. Walkie Kitsaki. Two, that the defendant was holding a knife with the intent of harming the victim. Oh. Indeed. Never underestimated Gavin as the lesson here. This court is of the opinion that all witnesses filled with making assumptions. In that light, I believe it would behoove us to hear about what really occurred. With less assuming, please. It is always the same with you people. Mark left the house on foot, and 5 minutes later his brother left after him. How long would it take for Mark's brother to catch up with him? Assuming that Mark never had to stop for a traffic light. Assuming. Yes, that's what I said. Assuming. As if that were a probable situation at all. Yet here you are assuming that my assumption is no better. What this court assumes is that the witness will testify as to what happened after the shot was fired. I could not prevent the killer from leaving the scene, nor could I simply leave the scene in good conscience. Ergo, I used my cell phone to call the police. Until the police arrived at the scene 10 minutes later, I saw no one else. Why didn't you chase the killer? He was, as you say, a killer. Of course, I could have run him down, yet what would he have done when cornered? Sadly, it takes more than an aptitude for solving quadratic equations to know that. Did the testimony earlier not prove the defendant's presence as a scene? And do we not also now know that there was no one else there? It seems clear that we have our killer, does it not? Does it not, Mr. Justice? I better find a way to take this testimony down quick. Better find a way indeed. Hold on. It was near Mr. Wright's office. No, but Plum Kitaki saw the accident happen, but where was the actual accident? No, that's Trucy's thing. This is where the accident happened. Ooh, girl. Okay. Nor could I simply leave the scene in good conscience, ergo I used my cell phone to call the police. Until the police arrived at the scene 10 minutes later, I saw no one else. Wasn't your first thought to call an ambulance? It can be said that I have dabbled in medicine. The injury I witnessed, namely a single shot to the head, tends to result in death. Ergo, there was no need for me to call an ambulance. Oh, a perfect syllogism. A proof in 3 parts. Exquisite. Simply exquisite. He actually looks like he's gonna cry. Trucy. Can you tell us in detail about these 10 minutes? I stood in a state of heightened awareness. Anything could happen at any moment. Anyone could appear from any direction. Is that all? No one came. Nothing happened at all. I saw it all, which is to say, I saw nothing. It was late at night. It's not odd to think that there would be few people around in the park. So he just stood there, watching? Not much to go on there. Trucy, if you got something to say, by all means, say it. This witness is way too self-assured. There's gotta be a weakness somewhere in this testimony. What? Which way did the killer run? By that time, it was clear that the killer had noticed me. Naturally, he ran in the opposite direction. That would mean he ran in the opposite direction from the Gitaki mansion. Aksung! Don't even think about pointing that he was going away from his home. All he had to do was loop back once he was out of sight. Ugh, how did he know that's where I was going? Trucy? You were certainly composed for someone who had just witnessed a killing. If one is to devote one's life to the pursuit of science, one must never flinch at the sight of a little blood, nor be so moved by a chemical discovery that one drops one's flask upon the lab room floor. Ooh, cool answer. Very cool. So nothing strange about how he acted. Trucy looks like she has something to say. Ugh, I can't find a single problem with that testimony. Had enough at last, Herr Forehead? Maybe it's time to back off a bit? There's nothing fishy about that testimony at all. It appears there are no objections to the witness's current testimony. There are any number of ways to explain the lack of prints on the pistol, I assure you. Perhaps the killer really was wearing gloves which wiped the previous user's prints off. Then, after the deed was done, this fell out of his pockets as he was throwing the gun away. A mistake befitting of a small-time punk, in my opinion. No. No! It seems we've come to the end of the line here. No, that can't be all. How unfortunate. It seems that you weren't cut out to stand on the same stage as me. Were you, Herr Forehead? Herr Forehead. I believe this brings the cross-examination to a close. This court will now declare a verdict for the defendant, Waki Katoki. Huh? Trucy? Trucy! Well, what's the meaning of this? Who are you? Wait, are you one of the Gitakis? The Gitakis? You mean the notorious gangsters? What? This court will not bow to the pressure from the likes of... Herr Judge, I see little points in further aggravating this gentleman. Wait! How did he disappear so fast?
Come to the defendant lobby, Apollo!
I suppose I have no choice but to adjourn for a 20-minute recess. Bailiff, catch the mysterious man. What? Then they sent one of the Katakis over here so that the trial wouldn't be over? What the heck? Well, I guess that is it for this episode. We gotta go save Trucy now. I'll see you next time. Roll the end card.
Objection! You haven't hit like and subscribe yet! Hold it! You forgot to ring the bell to get notified whenever I upload! Take that! Click here to watch more of my videos! Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye!